On today's show, NHLers have landed at the Olympics and practices are underway.
We'll check in on where the Ottawa Senators are playing on their respective teams and, of course, Team Canada.
This is Brady Tkachuk, and you're listening to the Locked On Senators podcast.
Your Locked On Senators, your daily podcast on the Ottawa Senators. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Welcome. You are locked on to the Ottawa Senators. I'm Ross Levitan alongside Brandon Piller. Today is Monday, February 9th. And Pillsy, should I start these shows this week with you are locked on to Team Canada?
Yeah, let's do it. We got to get some voices from Team Canada to do the intro for us, I guess. But we can rebrand.
Yeah, I think so, because we're dialed in. I've caught Olympic fever for sure. 2 practices in the books for Team Canada. We'll get to their line combos a little bit later and how the Senators are doing. We should note, we do have some great interviews for you later this week about the Senators, about the trade deadline coming up. So look out for that with Bruce Garriock, who says the Sens are more than kicking tires on a certain defenseman. And we got Graham Creech, Stephen Halliday, all later on this week. But Pillsy, the Olympics, it took Team USA one practice of watching Jake Sanderson to move him from an extra to playing with Zach Werenski.
When are they going to learn, Ross? Because the Four Nations face-off, he didn't start that tournament. And then eventually he gets put in, and he's one of the most impactful players on that team, especially in the final. Him and Brady were contributors. So I think it's good for Sanderson, Ross, that move was made. Bad for Team Canada and the rest of the Olympics, looking at Team USA's third pair being Werenski and Sanderson.
Yeah, now that means that their second pair of Jacob Slavin with Brock Faber, all due respect, I think Jacob Slavin's one of the best defensive defensemen in the National Hockey League. Give me Werenski and Sanderson ahead of that pair, for sure. Any day of the week.
Okay. Yeah, actually, yeah, definitely.
Come on. I mean, Zach Werenski, one of the best players in the National Hockey League, let alone best defenseman. That's where the Team USA advantage is. That blue line is ridiculous. They got Quinn Hughes with Charlie McAvoy and the other 2 pairs that we already mentioned. Their extras are Noah Hannafin, which they, for 5 minutes, put into the lineup ahead of Jake Sanderson, which you just can't. Now, you can dress 7 defensemen, but Jake Sanderson should not be the extra defenseman. I almost, and obviously, Canadian here, kind of wanted them to do that, give him an extra chip on his shoulder and all that. He's too good. Everybody knows it. They just had to see him on the ice, and away he goes. So that's where Jake Sanderson is, and Brady Tkachuk's on the top line. Now, maybe 1A, 1B. It's kind of hard. You got scoring lines, I guess, because Austin Matthews, by the way, named captain, Team USA. The Canadians don't mind that. Seeing that again, same as Four Nations. They've got Matthews centering Jake Gensel and Matt Boldy, and then Jack Eichel between Brady and Matthew Tkachuk. What do you think of the spot for Brady in the lineup?
I mean, I love it. And to me, Ross, that's your top line. The Tkachuk brothers getting to play together on a line is so much fun. I don't care whether you're a Sens fan, Panthers fan, American, or just a hockey fan. That's going to be all time to watch. And then Jack Eichel just setting those guys up or being set up by either of those guys. That's going to be a tough line to play up against for anyone that has to go against them. And were Matthew and Brady together Four Nations face-off? I don't think so a lot. I think here and there, but not that much.
Yeah, and I mean, Matthew didn't play the final other than one shift, right?
Yeah.
And even the game against Canada was where he initially got hurt the first game. So Matthew didn't play a whole lot, even though he dressed for every game at the Four Nations.
Yeah, so they didn't have a big opportunity to do that. So that's a fun move. Now, as far as the captaincy goes, I get it. I think if you're cheering against Team USA, you're like, good. They brought in another lame duck captain that has no energy, no inspiration, or leadership skills whatsoever. He's just maybe one of their best goal scorers. Cool. If that's how you want to choose your leadership, you do you. But I would have liked to see Brady get a letter. Like, that would have been cool if both the Tkachuks were wearing a letter. But I totally get Mac.
And you want to do a defenseman too, right? And both teams, same letters as the Four Nations in terms of Canada and U.S. You mentioned the U.S. Well, for Team Canada, it's Sidney Crosby. Shocker.
Oh, my God.
as the captain for Team Canada, and the letters will be worn by Connor McDavid, an A, and on defense, Cale Makar. So not only is that awesome, but I love how Team Canada is treating this like a business event.
Now, or at least one of them.
Two. Connor McDavid said the same thing. Okay. He's there to accomplish something. That Players Tribune article, albeit ghostwritten, as we know, was run through a wall type material. Yep. And then Nathan McKinnon, we just read his latest article about him on The Athletic with Arpon Basu. And this guy, he couldn't care less about anything to do with the Olympics other than winning hockey games.
Yeah, I don't think the group chat for Team Canada is going to be popping off saying, oh, let's go get some gelato and some pasta after the game in Milan. That's not going to happen. No. Milano, mi scusi. Yeah, I don't think it's going to be about the spectacle and being like, hey, I want to make sure I'm best friends with the guy that pushes the bobsled on Team Denmark. I don't think we're going to see that kind of experience from Team Canada and Nathan McKinnon. This is business. I mean, the NHL players haven't been back to the Olympics in 12 years. And when Canada brings their best to the Olympics, anything short of gold is a massive failure. And these guys know it. And they've been waiting for their opportunity. So they're not about to mess it up by getting caught looking at the bright lights here.
He was asked, Nathan McKinnon was, don't you have to soak in this experience? And he gave a one-word answer. No. He later went on to say that he goes on vacation in the summer, and this is a work trip for them. And you look at Nathan McKinnon, and we'll get to Canada's lines on the other side of the break. They're going down the middle, McDavid, McKinnon, and Crosby, all on separate lines to start this tournament. This forward group, all due respect to 2002, they had how many Hall of Famers on that forward core? This is the most talented group of 13, 14 forwards that I think any team has the ability to put together.
Easily. Yeah. Easily.
And I went and did some digging. Our guy Jack Richardson noted, like, man, look at where Canada has the U.S. is Stanley Cup wins on this roster. So let me take off the two guys who made this team initially but could not go because of injury. That's Braden Point and Anthony Cirelli. Did you know Braden Point and Anthony Cirelli have the same amount of Stanley Cup championships as the entire Team USA roster?
Yeah, that's so crazy. And that's why, depending on what side of the argument you're on, you can clap back in different ways. Canadians, when Americans are like, you guys haven't won a cup in 93, correct. A team that is based out of a Canadian city has not won since 93. However, the American-based teams, how many of those guys are Canadian? And that usually that stifles the argument pretty quickly there.
Well, yeah, every summer the Stanley Cup goes on a traveling tour of all the places where the championship players come from. And we know the Stanley Cup is based at the Hockey Hall of Fame in Toronto. I think it spends more time in Canada in the summer than it does during the year when it's just sitting at the Hall of Fame.
Yeah, pretty much, definitely.
21 championships on Team Canada, including 3 from Sidney Crosby leading the way. Number of guys with 2, including Sam Bennett, who was added for the aforementioned Anthony Cirelli, who's out of it. Like, it's incredible to see. Drew Doughty's got 2 rings. Brad Marchand's got 2 rings. Of course, Reinhart on that Florida back-to-back as well. And my other fun fact here, every year an American player that's on the Olympic team has won a Stanley Cup. Jake Gensel, 2017. I know, Sens fans, I know. Matthew Tkachuk, the past 2 seasons, their only other championship winner is Jack Eichel with the Vegas Golden Knights. Every year, so that would be 2017, 2023, 2024, 2025, a Canadian has won the Conn Smythe for playoff MVP that year.
Yeah, true.
Yeah, Connor McDavid in a losing effort in 2024. This year was Sam Bennett. 2023, when Eichel won, it was his teammate, Jonathan Marchessault. And thanks, Sid, Jake Gensel gets his. Crosby not only gets one as well, but gets the Conn Smythe during that 2017. I was being too nice on Twitter at Sens Central. I actually gave Gensel credit for 2. I thought he was on the team in 2016. Turns out he made his NHL debut the following November. But guess what? Sidney Crosby won the Conn Smythe that year too.
Yeah, that's crazy.
It's going to be fun. The only team that we don't have lines for yet that the Ottawa Senators are involved in is Team Denmark. They must be doing things with closed doors. They don't want to spill their secrets. We'd expect Lars Eller to play a top 6 role there in center. We know that their team is based around winger Nikolai Ehlers, who's an absolute stud, and he's going to be doing a lot on that roster, and still waiting to know whether or not Mads Søgaard will be the backup or the third string goalie. Frederik Andersen will be the starter there from Carolina, but he hasn't had a good year this year. So very curious to see how things fall for Team Denmark, but we know that Nick Matinpalo is going to be an extra, it looks like, on the outside looking in. He was paired on the 4th pair for Team Finland, which means maybe you're in, maybe you're not. 7D, obviously. But he was paired with Mikko Lehtinen, who is the only defenseman not in the NHL on that team. He did start the year with Edmonton, but terminated his contract, went back. He was a flag bearer for Team Finland. I think he's probably going to be in the lineup.
Probably going to have him play. Yeah.
Yeah. So Matinpalo, he goes from healthy scratch in the NHL to looks like healthy scratch in the Olympics.
Hey, if you can sit in the breast box in Ottawa or Milano, not a bad place.
Yeah, it's not at all. And look, Nicholas Matinpalo, we're going to talk later on in the week with Bruce. I want to ask him about Matinpalo because like that frustration has to be mounting on him. He's played 2 games since January. Like in the new year, he's played 2 games, one at a time, not getting any sort of rhythm. Like that's got to be weighing on him a little bit. So maybe this will be a good fresh start for him, at least to get his mind right for a couple of weeks and hopefully find his way into the Senators lineup a little bit later on. But I've waited too long. We got to dive into these Team Canada line combinations on the other side. You're listening to Locked On Canada and Locked On Senators, your team every day.
Today's episode is brought to you by our friends over at Factor. Cold days, packed schedules, and big goals. That's winter. But when there's not a lot of time to cook, eating well can feel like another thing on the to-do list. That's where Factor comes in. Factor makes healthy eating easy with fully prepared meals designed by dietitians and crafted by chefs. So you can eat well without the planning, without the prepping, and without the cooking. Factor meals are always fresh, never frozen, and ready in about 2 minutes. The ingredients stand out. You got lean proteins, colorful vegetables, whole foods, and healthy fats. No refined sugars, no artificial sweeteners, and no refined seed oils. They got tons of varieties, 100 rotating meals each week, so it never gets boring. You got lots of different options like high protein, calorie smart, Mediterranean diet, and so much more. So it's perfect for busy weeks when you still want meals that support your goals without the stress. So head to factormeals.com/LockedOnNHL50 off and use code LockedOnNHL50 off to get 50% off and free breakfast for a year. Eat like a pro this month with Factor. New subscribers only, varies by plan. 1 free breakfast item per box for 1 year while subscription is active.
Thank you for making Locked On Senators your first listen each and every day and helping the Locked On Podcast Network become the #1 sports podcast network. You already make us your team every day, so take it up a level and go ad-free. You can do that on Supercast. The link below is in our description. You'll also get access to our members-only Discord and more. Go check it out at Supercast. Pilsy, it is time to dive in to day 1 line combinations. Feels like training camp all over again where we overreact to line combinations, but no longer are we wondering, can Igor Sokolov make the 4th line on this team? Where does Tyler Ennis fit in as we have in years past doing this show? Pilsy, this lineup, I could not believe when I saw it. There were some eye-opening moves. Don't get us wrong. This is not anywhere near our projected roster. But when you have an embarrassment of riches up front, especially for Team Canada, you have to use it. And that's what Canada is doing. I organized this with the best centerman all the way down right now. But if you're Team Canada, you literally have 3 first lines. And the fact they're going McDavid, McKinnon, Crosby, all separate lines down the middle, I think that is your best chance for success in this tournament. You can always, within a game, go nuclear and put them all together. They're all going to be on the first power play unit together. But how on earth is any other team going to match up when you have those 3 any given shift coming over the boards next?
It's going to be difficult, but let's read through the lines for the audio listeners, then we can get into it.
Connor McDavid will start at center with Macklin Celebrini on his left wing and Tom Wilson at right wing. You've got Nate McKinnon with Brad Marchand and Nick Suzuki. Sidney Crosby between Mark Stone and Mitch Marner. The fourth line is Bo Horvat with Brandon Hagel and Sam Reinhart. Sam Bennett, an extra, along with Seth Jarvis. No indication on who's going to be the one scratch up front. And then on the back end, you've got the all-Colorado Avalanche pair of Devon Taves with Cale Makar. You've got Josh Morrissey with Colton Parayko. And then you've got Shea Theodore with Travis Sanheim. The two extras are Drew Doughty and Thomas Harley. And in goal, looks like Jordan Binnington's going to get the start in game one against Czechia. Darcy Kemper and Logan Thompson, the other goalies there. Let's stick up front, though, first, Pels.
For me, Crosby, Stone, Marner, there I am reading the lines center to wings again. That's your top line. I think just if you go by full strength, that's your best line. I mean, Mark Stone, Sidney Crosby, Mitch Marner, like that line can do it all. So if we're calling that our third line, that's insane. But I truly do think that's your top line. Now, as far as going with McDavid, McKinnon, Crosby, all up the middle, initially I was disappointed just because I love the idea of McKinnon, Crosby together, the two Cole Harbor, Nova Scotia guys. Get them on the line together.
They got Halifax native Brad Marchand on that line with Nate.
It's true. But I do think this is the better move, especially I talked about when we looked at possible lines earlier, the lack of face-off power that this team has. So keeping McKinnon in the middle, 51% in the dot, that's important. And then I love how Horvat was the guy that is the fourth line center, because like I mentioned as well, he's really up there in faceoffs, I believe like 56%. So I do like that they're building strength up the middle with this team.
I just you can't compete with these three lines. Like, what was I going to do? Put the guy who's leading candidate for MVP on the third line in Nate McKinnon? Well, you want me to put Connor McDavid on the third line? Like,
yeah, I don't know what you do, but as far as it goes for me, that is the best overall line.
So the biggest qualm, or at least eye-opener, was seeing Tom Wilson on the top line. Many people had him as the fourth line right wing, if not a 13th forward that can come in and play a little bit. But I think that there has to be a rebrand of Tom Wilson. Of course, he's got to play on the line, not over it. We know that he has been kicked out of games a few times. He's got a few suspensions under his belt at the NHL level. But this guy's numbers this season are incredible, and he's playing on a line with Dylan Strome. All due respect, Dylan Strome's a perfectly good top six centerman in the NHL. Putting Tom Wilson with Connor McDavid, you might be unlocking the most unique player that this team has. Is that fair to say? There's nobody else that's 6'4", 230 pounds, and that can match the physicality that Team USA is trying to build around with the Tkachuks and everything else they're doing. This is your answer to that. And I don't think Canada necessarily needs to answer with that, because the Canadian way is just to absolutely bulldoze you with speed and with talent. But I think having that X factor type Tom Wilson in a position where he's obviously the third best player on that line, he's obviously not going to be the one handling the puck as much, but he knows exactly where to be to make him those other two successful.
Yeah, I definitely think when people think of Tom Wilson, they think of what he used to be and not what he's adapted into. So that's a fair point. But Ross, when you told me the lines on the phone and you said, guess who's the winger with McDavid and Celebrini, I went through every single name on this roster for forwards until I forgot about Tom Wilson. I was like, oh my God, it's him. So initially, I didn't love it, because you get two absolute speedsters in McDavid and Celebrini, and then you got a bigger Tom Wilson there that could slow down the pace of that. But
he wheels, though.
Yeah, I'm not saying necessarily he's a Mark Stone out there with cement boots, but as far as McDavid and Celebrini, he's slow. He's not keeping up with them. But I do appreciate the fact that those guys can do their thing. They can play with speed. And then when there needs to be board battles, when there needs to be that size to make space for them, you've got your guy for that.
He gets around the ice, though. I'm looking at NHL Edge, Tom Wilson right now. He's in the 75th percentile in max skating speed throughout the season, and his skating distance per game, so how much he moves around the ice, is in the 83rd percentile in the NHL. So like you said, it's not like he's going to be like in cement out there. He's not going to be speeding in school zones either, like our guy Parley would say.
Yeah.
But I think that the compliment of putting him there makes sense. How much as well do you think it makes sense that they wanted not a protector per se, but putting a guy with a bit of an intimidation factor along with the youngest player on the team in Celebrini?
Yeah, I hadn't really thought of that as well. I think that is a good point to make.
Yeah, and I mean, it just opens up other things. What did you think about Nick Suzuki? Because we talked a lot about different guys being put on the wing that are natural centermen. The more I'm thinking about it, the more it makes sense to put Suzuki there on a line with Marchand and with McKinnon.
Yeah, I guess so. To be honest, I didn't really, and this isn't even just Habs trolling, I didn't really have a spot where I wanted or felt like Suzuki fit, to be perfectly honest. So I guess it's fine there for me. He was my extra, again, not to be a troll, but I wasn't set on like, oh, this makes sense for Suzuki. This is where he needs to play. So it's interesting. That's where he ends up.
Yeah, it really is. Any other thoughts on the forwards here? I mean, that Horvat, Hagel, Reinhart line. Like, Reinhart scored 4 goals in the Stanley Cup clinching game. This guy's on the 4th line. But you know where else he is? Top power play unit. We keep hearing Sam Reinhart might be the best bumper player in the National Hockey League. So you have him as the bumper, Crosby working down low and around the net, kind of rovering and being able to tip pucks as well as he does. And then your umbrella is McDavid on one side, McKinnon on the other side, and Cale Makar at the top.
Yeah, you simply cannot take penalties against Team Canada. Otherwise, you're done. And that's just a hat tip to John Cooper, Ross. This is a guy that obviously he's coached Canada before, Four Nations face-off, but you can't forget how much he has had to deal with appeasing to star players in Tampa and making lineups work. You look at Reinhart, he gets put on that 4th line. We talked about any of those 3 lines could be your top line, but I think it's fair to say that is the 4th line of this team. What's a way to, I don't want to say appease to him, but let him know, hey, I'm not dumping you or demoting you on a 4th line here. You're going to be playing on that top power play too. Like that's just good roster management, and they're going to roll 4 lines here. Like, I don't think it's going to be just the 3 top lines and then the 4th line getting shifts in at the end of the period or something like that. Like, I think John Cooper, obviously, this is one of the greatest teams assembled of all time, like we just talked about, is confident in each line. But I think the key for them to be successful is to keep everyone fresh, keep everyone in the game, because Horvat, Hagel, and Reinhart, these guys are not used to sitting on the bench for extended periods of time. So if you let them sit there too much, that's not how their routine is. You got to keep them in the game and engaged. So I think we're going to see the lines pretty evenly rolled out here.
John Cooper saying that based on the Four Nations, 23 minutes in the NHL is equivalent of playing 16 minutes in the Four Nations because of how much pace every line had. So you can't burn out. Like in Edmonton, McDavid will play 27 minutes. Like, that's just not going to happen here at this level. And I'm really curious to see what the penalty kill units are going to be for Team Canada, because a part of me, look, they're not going to be the first unit. They're not going to be the second. But you know what I'd like to see is like an option?
Okay.
McDavid and McKinnon as a forward combo. How much speed can you have on the ice at once?
Yeah, I mean, Marner's obviously going to be a part of probably the first power or penalty killing unit.
Stone will be on another one.
Yeah.
So you probably, I mean, Crosby will center one of those two combos there. And then maybe Horvat with the great face-off ability. Brandon Hagel could be an option. And you want guys that are lower down in the lineup, like Sam Bennett. If he's the 13th forward, he's going to need to get his minutes somehow too. Like, would he be a PK guy? I guess it depends situationally there too, because if he hasn't played in, let's say, 20 minutes of real life time, do you want him going out there against another team's 5 best players? There's a whole lot of coaching that's going to go into this. But the biggest question mark for Team Canada is the goaltending. We'll talk about that next on the other side. You're listening to Locked On Canada and Locked On Senators. It's your team every day.
Today's episode is brought to you by our friends over at Indeed. If you've ever hired someone who looked good on paper but wasn't the right fit, you know how important that is. When you want candidates who truly match what you're looking for, trust Indeed sponsored jobs. Hiring? Indeed is all you need. Stop struggling to get your job post seen on other sites. Indeed sponsored jobs puts your post at the top of the page and helps you reach the right candidates faster. Instead of struggling to get your job post seen, Indeed sponsored jobs helps your listing stand out and reach quality candidates faster. According to Indeed data, sponsored jobs posted directly on Indeed are 90% more likely to report a hire than non-sponsored jobs. So spend more time interviewing candidates who actually check all your boxes with less stress, less time, and more results using Indeed sponsored jobs. Listeners of this show get a $75 sponsored job credit to help give your job the premium placement it deserves at Indeed.com/lockedon. Just go to Indeed.com/lockedon right now and support the show by saying you heard about Indeed on the Locked On Senators podcast. Terms and conditions apply. Hiring? Do it the right way with Indeed.
All right, Philzy. So the Ottawa Senators are off until February 17th. That's right. Even though the Olympics will still be ongoing, the Sens will return for practice on the 17th in the afternoon. That's a week from tomorrow. And then they will be slowly but steadily joined by other members of the team as their Olympics come to an end. We know that the final preliminary games are the 15th. So if a player on a team that doesn't make the quarterfinals, they probably get that day off of practice, but they'll be ready to go soon after that. The tournament kind of stretches out. It's very quick for the round robin, and then it's every other day leading up to the gold medal game on Sunday, February 22nd at 8:10 a.m. Eastern. One more note before we get to the big question surrounding Team Canada, which is the goaltending. We got some stick taps here. Stick taps. Our guy, Tim Stützle, will be wearing an A for Team Germany. Leon Draisaitl will be the captain of that team. And the A's are going to Moritz Seider and Tim Stützle. I was a little bit surprised because Germany's got a few players that have been at multiple Olympics, that have played in the DEL forever. But Germany knows that their bread and butter will be, their bread will be buttered, I mean to say. Coast to coast, he butters the toast. The Team Germany is going to live or die off of Draisaitl, Seider, and Stützle. So good on those boys.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I kind of thought too, Ross, that they would give it to a veteran DEL guy, not to humble the NHL players, but more to be like, look, a lot of our hockey program is based outside of the NHL, and we kind of want someone that is more familiar with the rest of the guys on this team. Not that those three guys might not be, but obviously they don't play with a lot of those guys. I mean, there is JJ Peterka in the NHL as well. Do they have any other NHL German guys? I think that's
their
it, right?
goalie, Philipp Grubauer.
Yes, Grubauer. Yes, of course. So
and Lucas Reichel's an AHL, NHL tweener. He'll be there.
Yeah. But Germany's going to be interesting. Like,
I got the guy. Mark Spector pointed this out. He's an Edmonton journalist. He was saying that 39-year-old Moritz Müller has been the captain of Team Germany since 2018. He's played 22 seasons with the Cologne Sharks and 3 Olympics. This will be his 4th.
Okay. Yeah. So that could have been a guy for sure. But Germany, like, you don't want to put them on the power play either. Like, just those 4 guys, Draisaitl, Seider, Timmy, and Peterka.
Yeah.
That's an elite group right there.
Yeah, they are. Maybe they saw that Moritz Müller has 2 goals and 9 points in 34 games this season. He's a defenseman, though. He's a defenseman. Okay. I will say that, though. But, he's the captain in Kölner now. Was in a long time. Anyways, this is going to be the team of Draisaitl and Stützle. And I wonder if they're going to play together or have Timmy centering one line and Draisaitl centering the other.
You got to split them up, I think.
I just want to see them play together, man.
You will on the power play. I
Yeah.
think they're going to load that top power play unit, and they might even play the full 2 minutes. But I think it would be irresponsible to not split them up.
Yeah, it'll be fun to watch, man. In Germany, we got their game circled Sunday, the 15th. The final round robin game will be Tim Stützle against his lottery brethren, Brady Tkachuk and Jake Sanderson. That game will be taking place in the afternoon following Canada playing France for their final preliminary game. Canada's games are this Thursday at 10:40 a.m. Jack and I will be live streaming that game on the Locked On Senators YouTube channel. And then Canada plays on Friday afternoon at 3:10 against Switzerland. And then they wrap up the preliminary, as I mentioned, on Sunday morning. So the games are going to come fast and furious here, Pilsy. Like, we're 3 days away from the puck drop. Canada and Czechia, and all signs point to Jordan Binnington starting in goal. He was your starter, so you already explained why. I get it. He was elite at the Four Nations. They don't win that tournament without him, frankly. U.S. had how many chances in overtime? Brady Tkachuk, the glove save on him was outstanding. Have you seen his stats recently, though?
I think you throw all that out the window, Ross, when he puts on a Team Canada jersey.
But he hasn't been bad. He's been the worst. He's been the worst goalie in the National Hockey League this season. The worst.
Yeah, I know. That's the National Hockey League, Ross. Like,
do you know how many wins he has in his last 7 starts?
How many? Oh.
0. Do you know what his save percentage is? It's .828.
Yeah.
The worst. And he's going to start for the best team, Team Canada.
Let's go.
Okay.
I got a question for you, Ross.
All right.
Who do you think, I'm struggling to think how to word it. Who do you think this Olympics means the most for?
Connor McDavid.
Okay, that was going to be my answer too. I was not just Team Canada, but anyone. But I think
we just mentioned that they have 21 Stanley Cup rings in that locker room, and the best player doesn't have one. I looked up his stats since he came in the league just to be like, so Canada's got 21 cups, and a guy that doesn't has 170 more points than anybody else since he came in the league. And guess what? Draisaitl's the only guy within 200 points. And how many of those? Like, Draisaitl's a great player, don't get me wrong. But how many of those are, thanks, Connor, I'll just tap it in.
Yeah, especially because he's lost in back-to-back cups. Like he's had the jaws of victory right there and swept from under him. Like when the first one, Ross, when they came back from, was it down 3-1? Yeah. Like to lose that one and then be like, okay.
3-0.
I think it was 3-0 actually.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, it was. Well, technically, if they came back from 3-0, they also came back from
3-1. Nice.
So we're still right, just late.
Yeah, they were down 3-0 and then beat them 8-1 in Game 4.
Yeah, so to be that close, and then next year to be like, all right, we're back in and same opponents and not get it done. Now, sure, winning Four Nation face-off, that's great. Scoring the winning goal up against the States, that's great. But it's not the great that Connor McDavid aspires to. It's Olympic gold, it's Stanley Cups. This is massive for him.
And you need saves. I mean, is there a fan base that knows it more than the Ottawa Senators right now? Like, that's why the biggest. How long do you think the leash
Oilers.
How long do you think the leash is for Jordan Binnington?
Go through their opponents for me.
Czechia, Switzerland, and France.
In that order?
Yes.
I think if he has a less than good game against Czechia, he gets one more go.
Really?
And then,
but it wouldn't be the next game because you're not going to play them back to back. It's back to back days.
Oh, dang! I didn't fully realize that. I don't know. See, these tournaments are so hard with goaltending.
They're so quick.
And you see it in the World Juniors all the time. Almost every single time, Team Canada's day one starter.
We saw it in 2010 Olympics.
Doesn't finish. Yeah, in the Olympics, that's also the same. I mean, we saw it in, was it 06 as well? Or, yeah, 06
was...
That was a gong show.
We don't want to remember. And that was in Italy.
Even 02, didn't Joseph start, or that was 06?
Nope, that was 02. You're right. And Brodeur came in.
Yeah. So, like, you don't know how it's going to go.
But, like, it's too short of a tournament to give each of them one game in the preliminary, and then you need one guy playing 2 of 3, and he's your guy.
Yeah, you can't. This isn't house league hockey, Ross. It's not a participation tournament where you're like, okay, we want everyone to have fun and everyone to say they played a game. No, you got to find who's your guy, and you got to give him time to get in the zone.
Man, how do you break it down? Like, who doesn't get a game for you then?
For me, Kemper doesn't.
Yeah. You know what? John Cooper did a great interview with Elliot Friedman from his office, and I forgot this aspect of it. John Cooper watched Darcy Kemper take a potential 3rd straight cup away from Tampa. Kemper won that game in Tampa to win the cup.
Mm-hmm.
So he knows that Kemper can be an elite guy. And what I keep going back to with Kemper is he's used to playing on teams. Ever since he left Arizona, his last 3 stops, Washington didn't go so well, but still they didn't give up a whole lot. Colorado, Washington, and with LA, like he's used to playing games where you have 20 to 25 shots against every night. That's why he might get the edge for me.
Fair. Yeah. I don't think there's a clear right choice or a clear wrong choice, though.
828 save percentage in his last 7 games. And this isn't just a bad stretch, Pillsy. All season, Jordan Binnington has 8 wins in 30 starts with St. Louis. 8 wins. I mean, one of them against Ottawa. 2 of them against Montreal.
Not a great team, St. Louis, but yeah, that's totally fair.
How much of the reason they're not a great team is because their starting goalie, who started 30 games, has an 864 save percentage. To put that in perspective, that's Levi Marilainen's save percentage this year.
Yeah. I don't know.
I know. We'll see, dude. We'll see. It's going to be fun, man. It's going to be fun. I love, though, the business approach. Like we talked about McKinnon and McDavid. Those guys are going to set the tone. Obviously, Sid just does his thing. But those guys, I bet you watch Seth Jarvis can be like, yeah, I'm going to go watch speed skating. It's like, what? We got practice.
The only speed skating you're watching is McDavid do the drills this morning.
we got 26 hours till our next practice, dude. Are you serious?
Yeah.
You really going to go do that? It's going to be so much fun. Pillsy, final thoughts on today's show.
Final thoughts for me is
I got final thoughts. Gold or bust?
Yeah, I mean, I'm gonna try to sprinkle around my Olympic watching as well, because I don't know. We're going off topic here, but there's a lot of events that I'm super into. Like border cross is sick. Ski cross, the copycats of border cross, not as cool, but still very cool. I'm a snowboarder, so like half pipe also. I can't do any of that stuff, obviously, but that's cool. I don't get that into bobsledding. It's tough to really find an angle to get in on there. I actually do enjoy watching figure skating, like the couples figure skating. The stuff they're doing is insane.
Yeah.
So yeah, I'm going to try to schedule out those and make sure I'm tuning into some of that.
I love getting just like becoming the biggest expert on these sports that I watch once every 4 years.
Yeah.
It's like, oh, that quadruple axel, I don't know, just landed just a little bit to the left.
Now, are you the type of Olympic watcher? You got it on all day in the background, and when you're doing something, you're like, "Oh, you know what? I'll lean over the couch and watch this obscure event." Or are you? I'm following the schedule. I'm sitting down. I'm watching this.
No, I've got it on in the background, but I try to time it so that I know when the Canadians are coming up, and I'll try to lean over and stop what I'm doing to just see the Canadians do their thing. That's what I did in the slope style yesterday. I was watching the women's slope style where they get the rails at the start and then the big jumps at the end. I like that. The big air competition is wild for me too. Like you train for 4 years for one jump down that hill every run. Like it's not like the alpine skiing where it's like we got to do this. It's like you got one jump. Let's go.
And these guys are doing 1,800 spins and insane moves, and all of them are doing it. So it's like, oh, when he landed, he didn't quite have a perfect edge, so you don't medal because of that. Like it's so close. They're all so good. So I'm a Winter Olympics over Summer Olympics
by
easily.
Far. It's not even close.
Yeah.
No, it's not even close, man.
Yeah.
It's not. So yeah, I'm excited to watch this. Canada with 2 bronze medals so far. We got to get a couple golds in. Okay.
Definitely. And shout out to a friend of the show, Claire Hanna. She almost missed going on TV because she was locked in a bathroom. Did you see that TikTok video? She was panicking. She's like, I gotta go rinkside report in like an hour, and I am locked in this bathroom. So if you're looking for some content, that's some pretty funny stuff from our friend Claire.
Yeah, she's the best. We really appreciated her coming on from Milan last week. So you can check that out. And last time I'll tee it up because it's going to be great. We just chatted actually with Bruce. We're going to put that out on Wednesday, and we're going to drop the Graham Creech episode Thursday at like 5 a.m. because we know Canada's playing at 10. We're going to do the live stream. So we're going to put that out. We might even drop it late on Wednesday night. It's a great chat with Creech. So just something to listen to in the morning while you're waiting for Team Canada to get rolling, and some thoughts about the Ottawa Senators, because we are at the end of the day locked on Senators, but the Olympics happens once every 4 years. We are going to take advantage of getting to cheer for a team that has how many? Let's pull this up. Final thoughts on today's show. And wait till you hear final question with Bruce. I think we went like half the interview after that. Shocker. How many first ballot Hall of Famers are on Team Canada? Connor McDavid, Nate McKinnon, Sidney Crosby, Cale Makar. People in Ottawa aren't going to like to hear this, but Mark Stone's on the way to a Hall of Fame career himself. But I don't think he's first ballot. I think you got 4 first ballot Hall of Famers, no doubt.
I hate saying this, but if Mitch Marner keeps going on and wins a cup and a gold medal, I wouldn't be that crazy.
I mean, think about how far a gold medal goes in the conversation. Like, we use that all the time for Daniel Alfredson when his impact was being measured to be in the Hockey Hall of Fame. And there's a lot of guys in Canada that are going for the triple gold club, which is such an elite avenue to go. Like McKinnon is going for that. Who else going to that? Brad Marchand's going for the triple gold club. I want to say Tom Wilson. No, Crosby's already got it.
Oh, yeah. True.
Yeah, he's got 2 Olympic gold medals there. My last thought about Team Canada, by the way. Sanheim playing his offside. I don't know about that.
Yeah, let's hope Tim Stützle doesn't see that. He'll take advantage for sure.
I honestly think that we talk about guys not playing more than needed, but Cale Makar might be the guy who gets double shifted. If you're just looking positionally, like that might be. And I know you have 7D, and I know you probably have Drew Doughty in there as a right shot defenseman. Makar's the guy who I think leads this team in ice time every night, and I think it should be a substantial gap between him and the next guy.
Well, maybe not Taves.
No, but that's what I'm saying. Double shift Makar.
Oh, damn.
I basically want Makar to play every third shift for Sanheim as well.
Yeah, he could do it too. Do we have an update on Taves if he's going to have to leave in the middle of a period or something?
He's there.
Okay.
Can confirm. Saw a picture of him on the ice. He is there.
So, okay.
Which is huge.
Yep.
This team's so nasty. So nasty. All right. That's it for us today. Thanks so much for liking, watching, listening to the show. We will continue to break down all the Senators members of the Olympic roster. By the way, we talk about all the players.
Final thought.
Let's not forget John Forget, going to be the head equipment manager, Team Canada, and Dom Nicoletta, athletic therapist, Team Canada. So we do have some Sens abroad representing for Canada here at the tournament that we will cover in depth every day, and the live stream on Thursday. We hope to see you there Thursday morning with Jack and I. For Brandon Piller, I'm Ross Levitan, and this has been another edition of Locked On Senators and Locked On Canada. It's your team every day.